Welcome back, Logan. Last week we had our first session and we talked about how you've been really working towards chasing your own dreams and potentially even quitting your own job to do that. So I'm just wondering how the last week went for you and where you're at in that process now.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to make my own money. I'm sick of working for the boss. I'm sick, I know I'm capable of making them much more money than they're able to give me. So I want to make my own money and make steps towards doing that. But it's hard because right now, I'm still getting a weekly paycheck, so it's at least stable. If I were to work for myself, probably have to go in debt, thousands of dollars, probably not even make money for a few years. That'd be tough, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's a big risk. People are you almost gotta invest your whole livelihood into it.
Your whole
And
life.
your whole life, it's a lifestyle, and you might lose out. It's a big risk, but you could make a lot of money, and so I think I could do it. Uh, but I don't know. The stability of my weekly job right now is I don't.
So, a really big reason you haven't taken this leap of starting your own business is really the financial aspect and feeling like you will be super vulnerable if you don't have that weekly paycheck.
I think you'd be crazy or a fool to not have that in the back of your mind. You know,
It's always in the back of your mind.
always. I don't think until you actually are making it and you got that money in hand, I don't foresee how it couldn't be.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. Definitely, I think that's really valid. Do you have any extra support from your wife or friends or other family members who might know that you're in this process potentially?
Yeah, my wife and I have talked about it before.
Okay. What's her opinion on it?
She's very supportive of me.
In what ways?
Emotionally, financially, totally.
Okay. So is that something that gives, maybe lends you some peace of mind when you think about taking this leap as far as that financial concern?
It is. It kind of helps me filter my thoughts, with the, because it's not just going out on a whim or out on a limb rather. On my own account, it's I got a second opinion on it and full support and backing of it. Definitely empowers you a little bit more. I would say.
Okay. So the support from your wife empowers you. Do you have anyone else who's supporting you in this whole journey?
Yeah, I'd say my family was a little more accepting of it than I initially may have thought. They're very straight edge, typical 9 to 5ers, usually company people who come from a company family, and it's hard to have that company spirit when all you see is the company getting rich and not the employees. So I understand it. I want to be a company man, and I want when I'm working, I make them as much money as I can. That's just who I am. But I want to be able to make as much money as I can for myself.
Yeah, for you and your family.
For my family.
I know last week you had mentioned that being one of the harder things about this decision as well, outside of the financial aspect of it, but that this is different for your culture and for like your family's belief system even. And then to hear you this week say that, after you went and talked to your family, they gave you a lot more support than what you initially thought they would.
Yeah, they did. They did. That was welcoming, to say the least.
A surprise.
Yeah, surprising.
Okay. And you had said your parents are divorced.
Yep.
So did mom or dad have different reactions based on like their cultures, or what was that like for you?
That's a tough one. Yeah, of course, they both had different expectations and reactions accordingly. My mom, she's a little looser with her money, and my dad's more on the tight side. So my mom understood more, I'd say, than my dad. She's more free willing and free spirited with her money, where my dad's straight to the book. Save, 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 save. You never know, don't waste anything. So that's where I'm trying to really walk somewhere in between. Somewhere, there's a fine line financially, I think. And, yeah, you gotta have fun with your money, but yeah, you gotta be prepared. Like this crisis we're going through right now, COVID-19, that's affecting a lot of people. And, if you didn't save your money, you very well could be scared right now, for many reasons. But, so I'm trying to walk somewhere on the fine line of that. My wife and I just took a vacation, down to Florida to the Keys. And do we have the money? Probably not necessarily, but, we told ourselves we do. We'll be all right if we do. We got to be able to live some life. And, at the end of the day, we're not going to suffer too much from it. So money
really,
recuperates.
Yeah, it sounds like even though finances are the biggest stress for you to making this decision of like doing your own business, it's also something that you're really trying to manage as far as finding out like what money really means to you and how finances affect your everyday life.
Yeah, they've affected my everyday life since before I could even drive. I was bicycling to go make money. I'd pick up pop cans on the side of the road. I'd go work for my Uncle Melvin, pitch manure on the farm for dirt cheap, and could always make money. I remember when I turned 16, finally, I saved every penny I had for a vehicle. And I worked on a different farm now. I was doing much harder work and making a lot more money with that.
Mm-hmm.
And had a lot of money for my age, honest, a lot of money. And I one day took $50 bill, which people didn't have at my age, and I said, I'm going to get some gas with it. And thanks to the awesome economy that was left for us millennials at that age, I only received a half a tank of gas in my truck from a $50 bill. And I just remember how disheartening it was. And ever since then, I think money was worth more to me. And, it was very hard to spend money on things. Like $50 for a half tank of gas,
Yeah.
Wow. And ever since then, I've been, I think, incredibly tight with it. And so that's why when I have an idea like this, I'm incredibly skeptical of it, because what if I do fail? I probably might.
Yeah.
I probably won't make money for a few years.
It's a risk. It's a very real risk.
It is.
So I think I want to revisit that insight that you just had, right? So knowing that growing up when gas was so expensive and you worked very, very hard, that sounds like difficult labor at a young age.
It was hard to give 5 hours, which, that's $10 an hour at my age was a lot of money. Minimum wage was only $7.40 or whatever, and it's for a farm, so
hard work.
Hard work. So it was hard to give 5 hours of my life after school for half a tank of gas, and so I've just been really stingy ever since, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good insight, right? So that lends to how you're thinking and why you're thinking what you're thinking now, because the past always affects what we're experiencing now. Yeah,
and I'd like to have as much bang, or in my case, fun for my dollar. I want to go out and live life. I want to have a good time, but yeah, at the end of the day, when I come home to COVID-19 crisis, I want to be financially prepared for that as well.
Yeah.
Not out on a limb.
That makes sense. Especially, like
as
you
tough
said,
as
during
it
this.
is.
So you said you could fail, and you may.
I very well may.
That's a very real possibility, taking any type of risk. So what is absolute worst case scenario if you fail?
I don't know. I'd say super disappointing to myself, mostly, hard times for my family, maybe a little bit. I wouldn't say that would be dirt floor poor or nothing that way, or lose our house or nothing. But I think it would be incredibly tough. You know, we'd have to really budget our money and make decisions that otherwise we wouldn't have had to. And of course, I'm gonna have to start over at a new job. You know, at the bottom of the totem pole, because I'm gonna have to quit the current one that I'm at and I have experience at, and I put money into. I've invested I got a degree through Delta, and I got money and tools and everything that way. So it's you know, I'm dropping one dream to chase another is how I feel, and I hope that it's not just spontaneity that I'm chasing it on.
How long have you wanted to own your own business?
Crazy as it sounds, ever since I can literally remember, I've always wanted to make my own money. I've always tried to make a dime doing something different, you know, something that I could do.
That's what you said at the beginning of today's session. So I want you to really hear yourself say that. Because on one hand, you are terrified of taking this risk. And on the other hand, this is something you've been dreaming of since you can remember, probably since you were shoveling manure for a half a tank of gas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Worst case scenario is you fail and you have some lack of stability for some time until you can start a new job, start at the bottom of the totem pole. So it's hard to lose that seniority at your current job, hard to take the financial risk. What's the best case scenario?
Best case scenario is I make it.
What does that look like, making it?
You know, the true American dream, what everybody chases.
What's that for you?
Time off of work that you can spend with your family, you know, take your kid fishing. Not have to work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week to barely make ends meet. You know, enjoy your job, as hard as that may be or sound crazy. I don't, you know, actually wake up and want to go do your job every day. So
You're tearing up as you say this.
I know, it's hard to even talk about.
It's hard to talk about what happens if it's successful. Best case scenario is hard.
It is.
It's scary.
It is scary.
Because what if it doesn't happen?
That's it.
On It, Scary is a song by English rapper Stormzy. It was released as a single independently on September 2nd, 2016.
Thank you, Siri.
Technology. So it's scary because of what? Sorry.
Making it's almost a scary thought because it just seems so far away, you know? It's scary to imagine myself making it because what if I don't? It's just going to hurt so much more, you know?
Afraid to let your hopes up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Afraid of
Because all my other
disappointment.
past, I don't want to say small businesses, but attempts at entrepreneurships, I suppose you could say, just by miserable letdowns, you know? But my heart, I don't believe, was also with them either as much, so.
Your heart's really set on this. This is what you see yourself doing for the rest of your life, even if it's not the same career that you got your degree in.
I think so.
And that's what makes this different than the other attempts, right?
Yeah.
Is
Everybody always told me what I should go be, you know? Go do the skilled trades, go be an engineer, go do this, go do that. And some of them sounded pretty good. And the one I got my degree in, you know, at the time I really thought I might like. But I don't know. Just didn't turn out to be what I initially might have thought it could have been. So,
Wasn't what you were expecting.
yeah.
And yet you start to cry about what you could expect with a successful small business.
Yeah,
That's pretty powerful.
it is.
You said everybody's told you what you should do.
Seems to be that way. Everybody's always got an opinion or their 2 cents on how to do it or what to do, yeah.
And yet, when you told your family this last week about the small business and really how determined you are to be successful in it, you said they supported you. Even though it's totally against their culture and
It
their
is.
expectations to not have this 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, it is. It's far out.
You have their support.
I think I do, actually, as crazy as it is to even hear myself say.
Yeah,
I think I do.
you do.
I do.
So, worst case scenario, start over, really is what it sounds like. You got to start over in the 9-to-5 world. Best case scenario, you're living your dream life. You have the support of your family already. What's the next step?
So the next step is just continuing investing, I believe. Maybe.
Financially?
Yeah. We've been making small investments, prior to this, and little movements towards it, but eventually it just needs to happen.
Just kind of biting the bullet,
Yeah.
making
Can be
that
tough
financial
to jump.
investment.
We can't start out too small.
Why is that?
The income to debt ratio is slimmer. If I'm gonna quit my 9 to 5 every day, I don't only need a couple hours worth of work a day. I need to put in at least my 8 hours, and I probably need to put even more in than I would have been at work. And I need to be working more, as much as I can be the first few years, and that'll help the debt to income on the small business loan.
A small business loan. So do you have one of those yet?
I wouldn't call it a loan. I've just been kind of using a credit card. I
Okay.
know it's not necessarily ideal, but
Is that something, so I don't know, right, because I've never started my own business. Is a small business loan maybe more beneficial for like a long-term investment since finances are so stressful for you?
I guess I don't know. I haven't really looked into it.
Okay. Do you think that might be the next step?
I think I should look into it, yeah, just to see what the options are. I'm just nervous about taking out different lines of credit or whatever. I've been bankrupt before
Okay.
in a business attempt, so
Like declared bankruptcy or bankrupt?
self-declared
Self-declared.
to where I could not make my bills and live, and that's a really tough position for me to be in because I feel, I gotta be able to alleviate mentally here and there, I gotta be able, whether that's just go up north for a weekend or whatever that may be, go fishing for a day, I don't know.
To do that self-care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
self-care.
Very important to do self-care, especially when your anxiety levels are as high as they are right now. So, in the past when you had done this and you said you self-declared bankruptcy, so you were pretty broke, did you do a credit card? Did you use a small business loan for that?
I actually used a credit card, I had $7,500 limit on it, which doesn't sound like much, but you max it out. I maxed it out, and it was like $250 payments for that, and then I had a car loan. My car broke down, so I had to get that fixed, and insurance was due, and
Everything all at
it
once.
just seemed like everything happened all at once, or within such a, it feels like I just wake up every day just to go to work and just to pay my bills.
And that's what you want to change.
That's my hope.
So that's kind of what I'm hearing as far as like you want this to go differently than your last attempts. And your fear is that it's going to end up the same way.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe looking into that small business loan might at least open up some different options or opportunities for you to make this different. Because then you're talking to professionals, so people who do this kind of thing and work with people who are in the same shoes as you.
Yeah.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. So I know last week the homework that I had given you was to talk to your family and really just be vulnerable with them in a way that you haven't been before. And that went pretty well from the sounds of it.
Yeah, it seemed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this week for homework, I want to talk about managing the anxiety around the finances. So worst case scenario is you have to start over, right? And I just want to keep repeating that because starting over is something that you've done before. So you already know that that can be accomplished and you have all this support. So even if you do have to start over, you're not doing it alone. So for this next week, I'm wondering if trying another coping skill might be helpful. So you said you went fishing and you went camping, or you've just been thinking about going camping?
I've just been wanting to. I haven't actually gone, though.
Okay. What's been stopping you from doing that?
It's just a little too chilly, I think. I don't
Too
know.
cold, yeah. Well, I understand
It's a
that.
little early. I'd like to, but I don't know. There's going to be nicer days, I think, ahead of us. So
Waiting for the good days to come for the camping.
I hope so.
That makes sense. So, what is one form of self-care that you can do in this upcoming week that would really help to decrease your stress levels?
The boys and I have been talking about maybe going and hitting the Detroit River. Something I've always heard about and something that I possibly have always dreamt about fishing. So I got the new boat to do it recently.
Another dream.
Another dream honestly came true. Life is good.
Yeah. So you already went fishing there, or?
No, it's something I've always wanted to do.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
So is that something that you are planning on or hoping to do in the next week?
We're thinking about doing it Monday. It's looking like
Monday.
it could happen.
Okay. So I think that would be your homework for the next week, to go fishing and get some good support, right, from those friends who... Now, I thought you had told some friends, right, about your business idea.
Yeah, there's a couple of friends who are in similar business, and I've
Okay.
been kicking around the idea with them and whatnot that way, and weighing some options out.
And you said they like to fish too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Is that who you're going to be going fishing with potentially Monday?
not necessarily, but it's not a bad idea.
I was just wondering, because then you can get some extra support while you fish, and maybe they've talked with somebody who's got a small business loan as well. So I was hoping maybe we could combine the two homework assignments. But so one, go fishing, and two, talk to friends or other natural supports you might have who've gone through this process before, just to get some more insight on what the next couple steps might look like, so you're not walking in blindly.
It's not a bad deal.
Okay. And for our next appointment, when do you want that to be?
Well, I'm going fishing Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably gonna be an all day thing. It's a few hours from here, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it'd probably be set till the following Thursday.
Okay, so next Thursday, do you want to do a morning appointment again?
I prefer the mornings.
Okay. So we'll do next Thursday morning at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock's a little early.
Maybe 11?
I could do 11.
Okay. 11 o'clock next Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks for coming in, Logan.